Okay, so welcome to another deep dive, everybody. Today, we're going to be taking a look at something that might seem kind of basic at first,
Yeah,
but I think we're going to realize is a lot more complex than we might give it credit for.
absolutely.
So today, we are diving into life itself.
Wow.
We're going to be using a paper called The Misleading Simplicity of the Concept of Life. And yeah, I think this is going to be a lot of fun.
I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, so to kick things off, this paper is arguing that the way that we typically define life is just way too simplistic.
Yeah, it really is. When we think about things like breathing, growing, moving around,
Right.
those are really just scratching the surface of what life really is.
Exactly. And the paper argues that because of this, we might be missing out on a whole universe of organisms that we just aren't even recognizing.
Yeah, because we're so focused on these very specific and limited criteria.
Right. Like we're being kind of anthropocentric.
Exactly. Anthropocentric, like human-centered
Right.
in our view of life.
Exactly. So I think that's a really interesting point because like we're using our own limited perspective to try to understand this vast and diverse phenomenon.
Absolutely. And that's where things get really interesting because then you start to ask questions like, okay, well, what about viruses?
Right. Are viruses alive?
That's the big question.
It is a big question,
Hmm.
because on one hand, they have genetic material they can replicate, but they don't have their own metabolism. So it's like
Oh, wait, they need a host.
they need a host. Yeah.
They need someone else's machinery to actually carry out those processes.
It's so fascinating. And I think it really does challenge our understanding of what it means to be alive.
It absolutely does. And, it's funny because the paper actually talks about this idea of life as a process,
Okay.
not just a state of being.
Right.
So it's not just about checking off boxes like, can it breathe? Can it grow?
Right.
It's more about this constant flow of energy and information.
Okay. I like that. Yeah. So it's like a river or something.
Exactly. It's dynamic. It's constantly changing. It's adapting.
Yeah. It's like a dance.
It's a beautiful dance of molecules.
I love that imagery of a dance of molecules.
Yeah, it really captures the interconnectedness of everything.
And I think that's a really crucial point because it challenges us to think beyond these rigid categories of living versus non-living.
Right, because even things like soil and water, which we might think of as inert,
Right.
they're actually teeming with life, and they're essential for all of these processes to take place.
Exactly. So it's all connected.
It's all connected.
And speaking of connections, the paper also points out that we have a tendency to be biased towards complex life forms.
Yeah, like animals, for example.
Right. Like we tend to focus on those and kind of overlook the simpler ones.
Even though they're just as important.
Right. Exactly. And
Yeah.
I think that really speaks to this larger point about how our own limited perspective can shape our understanding of life.
Absolutely. It's a reminder to stay humble and to keep questioning our assumptions.
Yeah. And I think that's what this deep dive has really been all about. Challenging our assumptions about life, recognizing its complexity and interconnectedness, and just really appreciating this incredible phenomenon that we're all a part of.
And maybe even realizing that our definition of life might need to evolve as we learn more about the universe around us.
Absolutely. I think that's a great point, and it leads me to a final thought for all of you listening. If life isn't just a simple yes or no, but more like a spectrum,
Mm.
where do we draw the line, and what does that say about our place in the grand scheme of things? So keep thinking, keep questioning, and as always, keep diving.
Keep diving.
That's it for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.
See you later.